So today I wanted to take a look at the community update 343 put out on July 30th in regards to Halo Infinite and some of the criticism they got about the Halo Infinite gameplay reveal. I'm not going to read through this entire thing. I'm sure many of you have already seen it. Other people have already made videos on this, but there's a few key points that I wanted to touch on. So first thing, in this update, 343, they mentioned that they've heard far more positive than negative in regards to the Halo Infinite visuals. So first off, when I saw that, I was like, okay, here we go. I know how this is going to go down. It had me thinking they're going to undermine the criticisms they've been getting in regards to the graphics, the art style, the textures, the pop-in, and all the other problems that we've seen during the Infinite reveal gameplay demo. And I'm sure they're going to act as if this ain't that big of a deal. Those were my predictions after reading. We've heard far more positive than negative. Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that. Yeah, I've seen the positive. I have seen people who enjoyed that demo. But come on. Really? Far more positive than negative? I mean, you shouldn't even say something. There's been so much criticism. The Craig meme. People have been fucking clowning on this gameplay reveal. So you shouldn't even say something like far more positive than negative. Like, come on. Let's be real with ourselves. And like something like the Craig meme. Like in this update, they say, there's a part where they say, "How's Craig? We've all laughed very hard at the nonstop stream of Craig memes the community is cracking out. Craig is thick-skinned and seems to be taking it in stride, though all of this fame and attention seems to be going to his head. We've laughed very hard at the nonstop stream of Craig memes." Okay, so on the surface, that's not that big of a deal. Fine, you thought they were funny. A lot of people thought they were funny, but the reason people are memeing it is because it looks like shit. The facial expression, the textures, the face of that brute was awful. That's why people are memeing it and clowning on it. It's not it's not something to be proud of. Next thing I wanted to touch on within this blog was they said, "We decided to shift back towards the legacy aesthetics that define the original trilogy. With Halo Infinite, we're returning to a more classic art style." Okay, so yes, this is, from what we've seen in that demo, this is a more classic art style. But at the same time, this is the most cartoony I've ever seen Halo look. I like the more classic design for the grunts and the jackals and the elites. I wish there was more of a classic design for the Warhog as well, but I don't know what they were thinking there. It doesn't even sound like a Halo Warhog should. But my main problem with the art style is how cartoony it looks. It looks like a cartoon. It looks so kiddish. And people say, oh, it looks like Halo 3's cartoony art style. Halo 3 did not have a cartoony art style. I don't know what you're talking about. And if you do consider Halo 3's art style to be cartoony, well, it's been amplified by 10 in Halo Infinite. This looks way more kiddish. I mean, you just look at this image right here. This is next gen. This is the most powerful console in the world. Okay. Yeah, this is great. Looks beautiful. The enemies look like plastic toys. The brute looks like he has a fucking Lego on his shoulder. And hey, if we take this image right here of Halo Infinite, next gen, 2020, Xbox Series X, most powerful console in the world, and we compare it to Halo 3, a decade-old Halo game, I mean, you tell me which one looks better. It's all subjective. You might like Halo Infinite's better, but I'm willing to bet most of us think this one's better. Think this one looks more like Halo. And I'm sure Halo Infinite may have more pixels on screen and some other graphical improvements, but at the end of the day, the overall look of the game isn't impressive. The graphics are weak. The enemies look like plastic, looks cartoony. There's pop-in, flat lighting, flat textures. This is not what you would expect out of a game which is a launch title for the most powerful console in the world. The next thing I want to touch on is where they said, we do have work to do to address some of these areas and raise the level of fidelity and overall presentation for the final game. And then after that they say, the build used to run the campaign demo was work in progress from several weeks ago with a variety of graphical elements and game systems still being finished and polished. So, the build that we seen during the gameplay reveal for Halo Infinite was weeks old. Not 4 or 5 months old like some people were speculating. So that's even more concerning. It was only weeks old. And when I hear several weeks, I mean, what, 2 or 3? 4 weeks would be a month. I mean, and they admit they have work to do. So it's not like they have it all figured out and the game actually looks fucking beautiful in their current build. No, this makes it sound like, yeah, it's bad and we're working on it. I do think this game will look better at launch. I think that's safe to say. It's going to look better at launch. How much better? Who really knows? I don't think it's going to look... I don't think it's going to be night and day. Let's just say that. I'm sure the lighting will be better. Textures will be better. I know some things were already improved in the gameplay trailer we saw, but even then, it still didn't look that great. And things like the art style, like I can't stand the art style. Many people can't. I don't think that's going to be changed too drastically. And I'm not someone who is all about graphics. Graphics are really not that important. They're not. But decade-old Halo games shouldn't be looking better than Halo Infinite. It's just, there's no excuse for that. I don't care if it's open world and there has to be a downgrade in visuals because of that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Halo's never been open world. You didn't need to do open world. And plus, this is, again, next gen, most powerful console in the world. It's launching on PC as well. And it's a new engine. This is a brand new engine, which when you showed off in 2018, the announcement trailer for Halo Infinite, it looked beautiful. These environments were gorgeous. I understand gameplay is not going to look exactly like that in engine demo, but then why even show that to us? I don't, why? Why do I care how beautiful these environments are in that in-engine demo if that's not going to be reflected in the game? It doesn't make any sense. It's just a fucking tease. It's a lie. Like when I watched that demo from 2018, was I supposed to just think to myself, oh, this is pretty. I'm sure the game doesn't look like this, but this is pretty. I mean, I did suspect the game wasn't actually going to look like that when I saw that demo, but again, then why even show that off? I don't care what's possible in your engine if it's not reflected in the game. Like that, I really, like what... I mean, I can't make sense of that. I cannot make sense of that. So yeah, I'm not someone who's all about graphics. I do care about art style more than graphics, but at the end of the day, it's just the visuals, and gameplay is what really matters. But still, I expect a little more out of a 2020 mainline Halo game launching on the Xbox Series X and on PC. And I definitely expect it to look better, way better than decade-old Halo games, so yeah. They also mentioned other aspects of the feedback have brought new opportunities and considerations to light that the team is taking very seriously and working to assess. So, okay, has brought new opportunities and considerations to light. Now, that made me ask myself, okay, brought what to light? What didn't you know? Like, what weren't you aware of before showing the gameplay demo to the public? That's what I want to know. Like, is it the flat lighting? Did you not know that? Did you not know the pop-in? Did you not know how generic your weapon designs look? What exactly weren't you aware of? That's what I want to know. They might be referring to Digital Foundry's video on the Halo Infinite graphics, which they did mention in this update. So maybe they're talking about that, because in that video, that dude went very in-depth. So maybe they weren't aware of some of the things he discussed. I don't know. They also said, at this time, we're honestly not sure what is going to be possible in terms of flighting. I talked about this in a previous video. A lot of you already know this. Halo Infinite, they might not flight it before launch. They said they're going to flight it after launch. But, Bonnie Ross had said in the past that we will never see a Halo game launch again without a beta. So, just a complete lie. Don't really have much else to say on that. It's concerning that they're not going to flight it before launch, but it is what it is. And then they have a Q&A section in this update, and there's a few things I wanted to touch on here. Are there kill barriers or return to battlefield zones in campaign? They said, since we want to allow players to explore and get creative with their engagements, we've tried to reduce these as much as possible in Halo Infinite. There will always be some exceptions, but usually if you can see it, you should be able to go there. So that's something positive, there's some light in the dark, that's cool. I hated the fucking return to battlefield zones that were introduced in Halo Reach. So that's good. They said campaign will support 2-player split screen and online 4-player co-op. Yes, you can play on your couch with a friend. Halo 5 did not have split screen. And I remember back when that was confirmed, Halo 5 had no split screen. A lot of people were upset by this, caught off guard, didn't like it. And me personally, I didn't think it was the end of the world. I mean, most people aren't playing split screen nowadays, but I do think the game should always have it. I actually got fucked in it with Halo 5 because there was one time where I brought my Xbox over to my friend's house, and we were gonna play Halo 5, and I had totally forgot that it didn't have split screen. And this was before my friend had an Xbox, so that's why I brought it over to his house. I totally forgot Halo 5 didn't have split screen. So we were trying to play the split screen through the campaign, and I was like, wait a minute, this game doesn't have it. And I was like, fuck. So that did screw me. I as little as I play split screen nowadays, I did try to play Halo 5 split screen, and I got denied. Now, they do say it's only 2-player split screen. Other Halo games in the past had 4-player split screen, but again, I don't think this is the end of the world. And then they discussed some of the weapons. They said there are additional variants of each of these, the Bulldog and the Sidekick. So that was the pistol and the shotgun we saw in the gameplay demo. But the classic Magnum and tactical shotgun aren't currently featured in Halo Infinite. As we look beyond launch, we have robust plans to continue evolving the game, which will include further additions to Halo Infinite. Why? I want to know why. Who is making these decisions for the visual design of these weapons? You think your sniper rifle design looks better than Bungie's. You think your shotgun design in Halo 4, 5, and Infinite looks better than Bungie's. You think your pistol looks better than Bungie's. Are you delusional? What is going on? There is no fucking reason that we shouldn't have the classic shotgun. I mean, the pistol, that's something that has changed from game to game to game. But still, I think this is the worst I've ever seen the pistol look. Honestly, I even liked Halo 2 Classic's pistol. I even like that more than this. This pistol, the shotgun, they just look so generic, especially the pistol. I don't get it, man. This just is mind-boggling. I cannot comprehend why they're ditching these classic designs, like they did in Halo 5. They ditched the design, the Spanker rocket launcher. They ditched that for this thing, which I don't know why, and eventually they brought the Spanker into the game later. So they're doing this. This is intentional. They have a plan. Who knows? Maybe they'll have the classic weapon designs as like microtransactions or something, or a reward within the battle pass. I have a feeling they would do something like that. And real quick, there's one thing I want to say, which I don't feel like I've said enough in my videos, but Halo 2 Anniversary, the campaign, the visuals in that were fucking beautiful. They were phenomenal. And that's what Halo should look like. I just wanted to say that, like that, because that's like Halo from, you know, a modern era, and that looked gorgeous. That's what I want Halo to look like what the Halo 2 Anniversary campaign looked like. Yeah, there were some things I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall, it was beautiful. That looked good. That looked like Halo. And I just don't understand why 343 can't replicate a similar look with Halo 5 or Halo Infinite. They make dumb decisions. Another question they got was, how will the new grapple hook work in multiplayer? And 343 said, equipment items like the grapple shot function differently in multiplayer and will be available as items that can be picked up on the map. Okay, so as far as equipment returning, which we see with the grapple shot that they call it, and the drop wall that we saw in the gameplay demo, I am happy about equipment coming back. I do think that's cool. How these things function, like the grapple shot and the drop wall, that's something to think about, because like the drop wall, if that's something you throw down and it's like a one-way shield, you can shoot through it if you're behind it, but enemies can't shoot through the other side, and if it's really hard to destroy, that's problematic for multiplayer. The grapple shot, I would hope you can't grapple on to enemy players in multiplayer like you can in the campaign. I would hope that's not a thing, and like, does it have limited uses once you pick it up? You know, these are all things that I worry about. Well, I don't worry about it. It's just things I'm mindful of. It might not be a bad thing as an equipment pickup on the map, but depending on how it functions, it could be terrible for Halo's multiplayer. They also mentioned up to 4K 60 FPS is our target for our expansive campaign experience on Xbox Series X, and they confirm that we're going to have 120 FPS for Halo Infinite multiplayer on Xbox Series X. So I think that's mostly positive. That's going to be cool to get 120 FPS for Halo multiplayer on console. As far as the campaign goes, I think limiting the campaign to 60 FPS is kind of dumb. 4K is nice, but I mean, you know, maybe 1440p or 1080p even at 120 FPS, like that would be nice. Like, I don't think you should limit the FPS to 60 just to have it at 4K, okay? Downgrade the resolution, up the FPS. I think that's more important. Another question they got was, what about multiplayer Forge Theater ranking system, esports, and everything else? They answered, last week we wanted to focus solely on campaign. We'll touch on all the other aspects of our game in the coming months. So, I guess that's fair, even though we're like 4 or 5 months out from launch. And it would be 5 months if the game launched like at the end of December. I think it's going to launch probably in November. So not much time left. Yeah, that in itself is concerning. Like the gameplay demo was weeks old. We only got a couple months of development left. Games usually go gold like a month before release. So yeah. But yeah, in this question we do not see Firefight listed, which is a little worrisome, because I've always wanted Firefight to return to its former glory like it was in Halo Reach. Halo Reach Firefight was introduced in Halo 3 ODST. It was really fun. It was great. And Bungie greatly expanded upon it in Halo Reach. The customization for that was insane. All the different options you had. And then it was just gone. It was gone in Halo 4. Gone in Halo 5. I don't even consider that fucking Firefight. It's not traditional Firefight. That Firefight in Halo 5, it's got nothing on Halo Reach Firefight. So I would love for Firefight to come back, but I really doubt it will. And if it does, maybe that'll be one of the things that come after launch, because this gonna be I think it's been confirmed that Halo Infinite is going to be a live service game, something they're going to be supporting for 10 years and updating over time. So yeah, maybe Firefight will be one of those things that comes later on. Who knows? Even though it should be something that's there at launch. Like, it would be so nice if we could get another Halo Reach in terms of content. I've always admired Halo Reach because it launched with everything a Halo game should. Well, not everything, but what I mean is it had campaign, multiplayer, custom games, Firefight, theater, Forge at launch. Halo 4 did not have Firefight at launch. Halo 5 didn't have Firefight or Forge at launch. Forge came later on, which was great. Firefight came later on, but it's not even traditional Firefight, so I don't even count that. And I doubt Halo Infinite will launch with all those core aspects of a Halo game as well. And that's another thing I wanted to mention. It looks like this game's going to be open world. And like, I'm not so too keen on that. It's just, like, I personally like linear games, especially when it comes to Halo. And I just feel like too much time goes into creating this open world experience in Halo Infinite. Like, I feel like a lot of time goes into that, a lot of resources go into that, and I feel like those resources could be allocated differently in a better way. Like, I feel like 343 sometimes spends too much development time on the wrong areas of the game. Like, ask yourself, with every Halo game, what are most people spending the most time in? The multiplayer, the online matchmaking. That's where everyone is at. I'm not saying that means neglect the campaign, but like multiplayer needs to be prioritized. And I know they have different teams working on different aspects of the game, but still, you could pool some people that are working on designing the campaign, designing this open world, and have them work on multiplayer maps or things like that. And yeah, that's just how I feel about that. Like, Halo Infinite, free to play multiplayer. You know how many people are just going to be playing the multiplayer and never touch that fucking campaign? A year from now, what's everyone going to be playing? Most people are going to be in the matchmaking, playing the multiplayer. Like, that shit needs to be prioritized. So I don't want the game to launch without I don't know, like, let's say only 7 multiplayer maps, for an example. I don't want the game to launch with 7 multiplayer maps because you had a ton of people building the environment for the campaign. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want that to take away from multiplayer, because multiplayer is where most people are spending their time. That should be prioritized. Doesn't mean neglect the campaign. Doesn't mean that at all. But hey, if Halo Infinite multiplayer has everything that it should have, and they were able to create a huge open world for the campaign, then more power to them, even though I still prefer a linear campaign. A couple more things that they addressed was in-universe timing. It follows the Master Chief story sometime after Halo 5 Guardians conclusion. So that's something people have been wondering, myself included. Are they ditching Halo 5 story? Because there didn't seem to be much reference to it in the gameplay demo, which is only like a short part of the game. I understand that. And they are calling Halo Infinite a spiritual reboot. So I don't blame people for questioning if they're ditching Halo 5 story or not. I wasn't a huge fan of Halo 5 story. Didn't even understand half of it, because I'm sorry, I didn't read the books. And I know there was a ton of plot holes in it as well. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of evil Cortana and the created an army of evil AI. I can't be bothered with that shit. But yeah, they say it follows the Master Chief story sometime after Halo 5 Guardians conclusion. Okay. Well, that's nice to know. But like, I mean, they've just dug themselves in a hole. They created a shit story with Halo 5. And, you know, people are going to be mad if they completely ditch it. people aren't gonna like it if they expand upon it, because some people didn't even like Halo 5 story, so they did this to themselves. I don't care about Halo story anymore. I used to be a huge nerd. I used to love Halo story. And yeah, I stopped caring after Halo 4. Pro team. We've assembled an internal pro team for Halo Infinite. Great, because that helped so well with Halo 5. Split screen. Yes, split screen will be a thing. Yeah, we know that. LAN. Halo Infinite will support LAN. That's good to know. I do have a question though. Like, does MCC support actual LAN? Like, I know it was supposed to get actual LAN. Well, I know it did get like true LAN in the 2018 update for MCC. But then I remember at like one of the recent Halo events, I guess a couple months ago now, that like because of Xbox Live was down, they were not able to play. So if it had true LAN, I mean, that wouldn't, the Xbox Live shouldn't affect that, right? But so I don't understand that. But LAN for Halo Infinite, that is good. Back in black undersuits will be in the game. That's good, and I prefer that. Microtransactions, Halo Infinite will not include real money loot boxes. I addressed this in my last video. Yeah, that tells us no real money loot boxes, but I'm sure there will be real money microtransactions. I'm not a huge fan of microtransactions. I prefer paying a set price for a game with no microtransactions in it rather than a free-to-play game with microtransactions. I discussed this in my previous video about Halo being free-to-play, so if you want to hear more on that, check that out. Player customization. If you like the level of armor customization options in Halo Reach, you will be pleased. That's good to know, but at the same time, Halo Reach is like a 10-year-old game, just about. So I would hope the level of armor customization has been expanded upon greatly. Yeah, I would hope it's not on par with Halo Reach. SR-152, players who hit SR-152 in Halo 5 Guardians will receive a token of appreciation in Halo Infinite. Okay, we still don't know what that token of appreciation is. I don't know why that has to be some huge secret, but whatever. Forge, our famous editing tool, will be in Halo Infinite and will have undo and redo buttons. This is a first for Forge. That's fucking good. That is good. Man, that is fucking awesome. I am very, very happy about that. I'm not a huge forger, but undo and redo buttons, that's great. That's something I wish OBS had. That would be nice. You know how many times I fucked up in OBS and I can't undo? I can't even begin to comprehend why there's no undo redo buttons in that software. I'm not too sure about that. I don't understand. But yeah, undo redo for Forge and Halo Infinite, that is great. So that's everything I wanted to cover in this update. There's also the Halo 3 or the MCC dev blog that came out a couple days ago. I want to touch on that as well. There was a lot of cool things in that. I will be doing a video on that. Yeah, this gave us some more insight into Halo Infinite. There's still some things that are unanswered. Two things that aren't the biggest deal, but I've been speculating about is dual wielding and playable elites. Will we have playable elites or even playable brutes in Halo Infinite? Will dual wielding be a thing? People have been wanting both of these things to return since Halo Reach. Well, you had playable elites in Halo Reach, but it was only in Invasion or select game types. You couldn't play as an elite in anything, which honestly, unpopular opinion, I prefer how elites were implemented in Halo Reach. I like that they were different than Spartans, had more health and were bigger, but you could only play as an elite in certain game types. I preferred that. Again, yeah, I know, unpopular opinion, but whatever. And yeah, dual wielding would be nice, even though I feel like most of the time dual wielding isn't an essential thing. But I mean, there is a use for dual wielding. There are situations I've been in Halo where I want to dual wield, and that's the better option. So dual wielding's awesome. I think that only improves the game. I don't think it really hurts it. So it'd be nice to see that return. And before I end this video, I just wanted to ask you guys, do you prefer, when I cover these updates and these dev blogs on Halo Waypoint, do you prefer I just do it like this, where I just pull out a couple different pieces of the update of the blog and talk about it? Or should I read through the entire thing, start to finish, and discuss it as we go? Let me know in the comments which one you would prefer. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.